hump day, everybody. We know happy hump day gives two things at Pinpoint. One is our hump day burger day, and two is our hump day Pinpoint podcast. Today we got a guest in here who has several trucking businesses started and has been very prosperous. I know there's a lot of you out there trying to get in the trucking business and always inquiring about how to start the trucking business, get your MC, your DOT, and then not just that, with the insurance, carrying the loads and all that. So today we're going to be interviewing Mr. Tashin with Dream Team Trucking. Dream Team Transportation. I don't want to get his trucking business wrong, but it's Dream Team Transportation. Y'all tune in to Pinpoint Podcast, and as always, we feast with friends and staff, and also join in and tune in with Pinpoint Podcast. Y'all can find us on Apple Podcast, as well as SoundCloud, and then you can also go to our YouTube page, YouTube Pinpoint Foundation. You'll see our podcast as well. We hope you guys out there get some real good knowledge out there, and as always, Pinpoint. Enjoy, and let's have fun. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Menifee with Pinpoint Podcast, Pinpoint Wednesday Podcast. And today, as you know, everything is always real estate with Pinpoint. Everything is always business with Pinpoint. And we got a special guest here today. Every week, anybody here is a special guest. Let me just rephrase that. But we got a very special guest because of the industry that he's in, and we know a lot of men and now women, and most men who come home from incarceration, one of the things they try to do is get it started with this business. And today we have Mr. Tashin, aka my man Ty, who's going to speak to you guys about getting into the trucking industry. He's been very successful at it, and unlike most who start the trucking business, he is not a driver anymore because he's, I'm going to let him tell you all that. But it's Pinpoint Podcast, and I'm going to introduce y'all to Mr. Tashin, and he can tell you the name of his company. Could you introduce yourself?
All right, my name is Tashin Pickett, and everybody call me Ty. The name of the company is Dream Team Transportation. We've been doing this for about almost 20 years. It's one of the lucrative businesses that everybody's trying to get into. But the one thing that I'm starting to see with this industry is that everybody's getting in it, but they don't have the knowledge of it. The one thing about it has its ups and downs for it. It's got its good points and it's got its bad points. But the one thing about it is the drivers. The drivers can break you or make you. The thing about it is that most drivers in this game come in, they get their CDLs for about a year. They think they're going to make a lot of money.
Right. A lot of them do that.
Right. So the thing about it is they got to understand that they have to be able to have experience when they're doing it. Because when I first got into the game, I got into the moving industry.
Right.
The moving industry is a little bit different from the freight.
The moving industry?
Yes.
Okay, that's part of trucking as well?
Yes, it's part of trucking as well too. But mostly everything is just basically moving people from state to state.
Oh, we forgot to do this on people.
Okay.
We always salute each other as kings, businessmen.
All right. So the one thing about the moving industry is a little bit different from the freight industry. It's a little more lucrative than the freight. But it's just like any business, it has its ups and downs as well too. But the one thing about the trucking industry, period, that a lot of people get in it, they don't have a team. They don't know all the rules and the regulations that they need to know. The most important thing is to make sure that you have an accountant, make sure you have personnel, you gotta have an admin, you gotta have people that can do the paperwork and know what they're doing and following everything that's right.
Right.
You also gotta have someone to make sure that when they screen in the drivers, they gotta do the drug testing, they gotta check their background, as far as their driving record, You gotta have all the stuff.
So is the drug testing? I'm gonna get to where you from and everything. But
Okay.
I like it that you said something about the drug testing, because it was a gentleman was telling me it's up to the company to drug test their drivers. Is that mandated by
The DOT.
DOT? Is
Yes.
mandated, so it's not up to. You don't have discretion.
It's mandated because for the simple fact, if you get a safety audit, right, and they come in and do a safety audit, the safety audit, they want to make sure that you have driver's license, social, drug test on file, driver record, ELDs, making sure they know how to fill out an ELD or a paper log. Everything they need to know, these drivers need to know this, and you gotta have all this stuff in their file. So it doesn't even matter if it's something that you have 10 years from now, and they decide to come back and want to see your records 10 years from now. You just gotta make sure that you still have all that paperwork and all that stuff that they've been doing since they've been dropped.
Okay, I got several questions to ask because I have so many friends of mine, close friends of mine, that a lot of them they tried the business out, come home, looking for an avenue, not looking for an avenue, basically trucking avenue, looking for an avenue not to do anything wrong to go back and get incarcerated. Before I go there, I like for everybody to know where everybody at, and I like to ask you two things.
Okay.
Where you from and what actually got you in to the trucking business. So let's talk about where you from, how you get to the ATL, the great ATL, if you're not already. Don't sound like you're from ATL.
I've been born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I was born in Coney Island Hospital. I actually moved to South Carolina for a little bit, and then I left South Carolina and came straight to Georgia. The reason why I moved to South Carolina, I got into learning the trucking business back then.
Okay.
I started with a furniture company, did that for a little bit, started out with box trucks. So that's how I got into the moving industry, is through the box trucks. So then I moved to Georgia because Georgia was more like a hub, because you got all the surrounding states.
Right.
And it's easier for you to get to different states by doing the moving jobs, okay? It's just like living in New York if you're doing everything in the tri-state area, if the boroughs, wherever's where you want to do it. It's the same setup because you connect it for every highway. Moving here was just basically for a business aspect, It was a good situation, and I saw it, and the blueprint was right there, so I tried it.
So what got you into the trucking transportation business? Because like I say, you're very blessed in it.
Right. As far as that goes, like I said, I started with a furniture company. That's how I got open into jumping into the trucks, and I did the box trucks for a very long time, with just doing strictly moving. I decided to not do the being in the moving industry back in 2018. I said I didn't want to get back into it. I just basically wanted to try something different. So I stayed in the trucking industry, and then I started dealing with general freight. The general freight was a little bit different from the moving industry.
I was going to ask you, what is it? Can you explain to general, what is general?
Okay, so general freight is like dry goods, just basically everything that you're doing, delivering to the consumer, Walmart, Amazon, you picking up from Amazon, you deliver to the post office, or we deliver from Amazon to Amazon. Most of that stuff is all dry goods, right? Now, the difference between the household goods and the general freight is that household goods moving is more a cash business than versus the BOLs and the BOL is actually like a sheet that got all the goods and everything on it, right? Okay. So basically, if I take something from your company, your information and everything else, and I'm going from Atlanta, Georgia to North Carolina, right? And Pinpoint is basically the person, the distributor, and I'm taking it to Ashley Furniture. So I'm leaving from here to go to Ashley Furniture. So Ashley Furniture will be the receiver, but I have to have a bill of lading in that truck to say what I'm hauling.
Okay, so BOL is bill of lading.
Yes. Okay. So basically, if I'm hauling chairs or whatever the case may be, if I can stop by DOT or anything like that, I have to have that BOL, and I show what I'm carrying. They need to see what the weight is. A couple things. They just want to make sure that everything is legit that you're carrying in the back of that truck. The same thing goes for household good furniture. The bill of lading is the same thing. We have bill of ladings in household good furniture as well, but it's a little bit different from general freight because you actually have to write everything in the paperwork. Okay, so you have to write down the amount of money, different things like that. But the good thing about it is that when you're dealing with household goods, you actually get 70% of your money up front. With general freight, if you're taking a job from a broker or a direct company, some of them companies don't pay but every 30 days. So then you have to go through a factory company. Then the factory company will get you the money within 24 to 48 hours. But they take a percentage somewhere between 2.5 or 4%. But some of those factory companies give that percentage back at the end of the year once they collected all their money from the consumer. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I understand the factoring company because basically the factoring company, I hear a lot of, one of my good friends, like my brother down in Texas, he was dealing with them factoring companies paying 10%. They'll pay him up front for the load that he bidded on and wanted on the broker,
right,
on the broker side. And then he started having issues with the factoring company, right? Because the factoring company, they're supposed to fund you whatever that bill is, right?
Right.
However, it was something, I don't want to misquote it, but I see a lot of this. With the factoring company, they was taking 10% away from them, giving them the money up front, and then they had other issues and concerns, like if they needed fuel, didn't get right with the fuel card or something like that. They go to the factoring company. The factoring company don't want to lend them the money when they taking all their proceeds and get for a fee for 10%. How do you feel about the factoring companies?
Well, I'm not too big on the factory companies, but the thing about it is I tell everybody this. Most people deal with the factory company and they'll take their fuel money and stuff off the payment, right? They'll get a fuel card from the factory company and tell them, hey, we need about $300-400 for fuel. For me, that's an issue because at the end of the day, you want to be able to get all your money. You're already getting a percentage taken off already, right? So the thing about it is this: I tell people to get fuel cards because for your own company,
so you don't have to go
to deal with the factory company because that takes away from your money. You see what I'm saying? Right.
Texaco, places like
that. Most of the truck stops is Flying J, Pilot, TA, and Loves, and Petrol. But those are the ones that everybody go to versus the truck stops where they can relax. The drivers they got lounges, showers. They can park. The thing about it is basically you can get those type of fuel cards and still be able to maintain the business. You can have a fuel card where you could pay twice a week, or you could pay once a week, or you could pay once a month. But I tell everybody it's best that you go ahead and let the payments come out every week because you know exactly what you got coming out. If that bill is $15,000 for multiple trucks you have, you know that $15,000 is coming out. So whatever you got left over to pay the drivers, the insurance, your staff, you take care of whatever you need to take care of. And it's very important that you have an accountant and you have an admin to basically keep a track of everything that was going on. Because the one thing about it is that you have a lot of people that play games in this industry.
Right.
The thing about it is I done been through it all, and I tell everybody, I'm the first one to tell you I done had brand new trucks flipped over, roofs torn off a truck, drivers done ran off, leave the truck, stole money. I done been through it all.
You've been through it all.
I've been through it all.
Which is bringing me to this, because I dipped and dabbed in the trucking industry, but each time I did, it was to do it for a friend. Well, we'll get to that later.
Right.
Because your conversation is a lot more interesting than me losing my money in it, because I have lost a lot of money in the trucking.
Right.
But the one thing I noticed, the brokers, when we spoke, you said you don't deal with the brokers no more, right?
No.
Yeah, you said because with the brokers, it's like just say if we're paying them, Pinpoint to pay them $3 a mile, $3.50 a mile, they'll have you and somebody else bid on it and talking about it's only paying $1.50 a mile.
Yeah.
So you end up taking, so we're paying out $3.50, but they got y'all bidding and say the max is $1.50.
Right, because if
they keeping the $2 that we giving them, and they not doing nothing but brokering.
Right, because the thing about it is what most people don't understand. A brokerage is a company that you can actually set up yourself. You can get all the credentials and everything too. But the one thing about being a broker is that you have to do this thing called a packet. So you have to go to the consumer and tell them what you can do for them. So if you go to Walmart and you tell them, let's say, hey, Pimp, this is Pinpoint, we can offer you this. This is what we can do for you. We can get you the trucks. The thing about it is, it's just like any business. It's a hustle. You know, right. Most people see it. It's
like the hustle.
Right, basically. So the thing about it is that if you see somebody saying, hey, well, Pinpoint Brokerage Company, this is what we can offer you. This is what we can do. Then you might call up a company like mine and say, hey, Ty, listen, I'm Pinpoint Brokerage Company. This is what I can offer you. Sign up with me, and I can guarantee you a certain amount of loads a month, right? So most companies will say, okay, let me try you out. But what I've started to find out is like this. It's like if you have a job, right? One job, like if you call me up and say, hey, Ty, I need you to do this job, deliver this freight. I send a driver to go do it. You say, well, okay, I'm going to give you $3,200 on this job. But reality of it, you probably got $9,000 for that job. So you done cap the rest of that money, and I only made $3,200 on that
so
job.
they unfair.
Yeah. So the thing about it is that, and it's legal for them to do it because that's why they consider it to be a broker company. You understand what I'm saying?
So there's no cap. Like I'm in the broker industry. I've been in for almost 30 years now.
Right.
And you have a cap on charging origination fees and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have any cap
on
what they can charge.
No.
And that's why a lot of businesses I see go out of business. And another thing I ran into with all the brokers, they want you to say if I sign up with their company, my company with their company,
mm-hmm.
they want you, the insurance that you pay for, you got to get an indemnity. And I read through the indemnity very thoroughly, as I do every day. So when the indemnity, when they got on the indemnity, they say, okay, this load is not yours, it belongs to Ty's Trucking, just to give you an example.
Right.
The load's not yours, it belongs to Ty's Trucking. If your driver get into an accident, you, Pinpoint, can't file on an insurance claim on it because our load, even though you're paying it and it's your truck, and we taking a percentage already, we got to file for the insurance on the loan. So I then bought what they call this direct shipper package. It had like 4,000. It had like 4,000 companies on there that's direct shippers.
Right.
And I purchased that package just so I could start dealing with shippers directly. Of course, you have to get the account or whatever. But that was one of the biggest issues I see with a lot of because there's only a few insurance companies that actually insure drivers. I found out one of them is Geico. Geico will insure Class B drivers. You can go directly with them without having to go through a broker. Of course, Progressive is one where they get where they actually do your actual filings for you to have your MC, your authority, which is what we'll get to as well. Because you have your own DOT and your MC.
Yes.
You have your own authority to go across the road, correct?
Yes.
And you're interstate.
Yes.
So you can go all over.
Yes.
All right. So those are the issues that I see. They go through brokers, and what I found for the brokers to do, the insurance brokers as well, which I had a couple of people that I know personally when I ended up going out of business. The insurance brokers, and see if this ever happened to you, they'll take you, instead of you going directly to Progressive because you don't know, just out of ignorance only, or know any direct insurance company that could do your filings for you, your BO3 or something like that.
It's called a BOP 3. So basically, when you setting up a DOT and MC number, right, you have to do the DOT and the MC number. You have to do the BOC3 and the UCR.
Yeah.
That's basically is like you have different people calling you to tell you they can do it, or they can do the UCR. But the thing about it is, once you get that filing done, you can actually do it yourself. You can actually have someone, you can actually call the company direct and do the BOC3 and the UCR.
Right.
Okay.
And what I found, right, and thank you for explaining that because I forgot the name. So what I found, a lot of, like I say, people that I know, of course a good friend of mine, with the insurance problem, that we're talking about a couple of different things that'll drive you out of business and you weather the storm.
Right.
Right? That's why I asked you to be here. So one of the things also I've seen a lot of them go out of business outside of just the factory and then using the brokers is with the insurance. Because you find that they put a percentage down, which is the same thing they could do with the insurance company, but they give the money to the broker. Find out if you read the fine print, the insurance broker actually gets them financed. They finance that insurance policy. So say if Progressive say your policy for the year is $25,000, they'll tell you to put 10% down, which is $2,500. 20% down. Just give you an example. I know it's 20, sometimes 30. It depends on your driving record and also the state. Because the state of New York, they might ask for 100%.
Yeah.
So anyway, that broker then gets the deal financed. And you don't know it's finance, which I found out by helping someone. You don't know they got the whole deal financed and they paid the insurance off. You paid them some money. You're actually paying a note on it. They're not guaranteeing the note. You are. So if you miss a payment with the broker, then they then threaten you and say, hey, if you don't pay us, we're going to have to cancel your insurance. But you not knowing your insurance has already been paid for in full. And then now they canceling your insurance, something like that. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
so
what
have you
you're
ever had any issues like that with using the insurance broker versus going directly to the insurance company yourself?
Well, with a commercial policy, you can't do it by yourself. So the thing about it is, I have an insurance agent, right? And the one good thing about it is that you have to have a relationship with the insurance agent. Because if you got a relationship with the insurance agent, they're going to get you the best quotes and the best coverage that you need.
Okay.
So the thing about it is you're right, you're correct on the financing part of it, because you will have some of them that will finance the cargo. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it all depends on the company, how old the company is and how new the company is. The LLC, most people that go get a brand new LLC, and most of these companies don't like to give you insurance. Progressive will. Because Progressive doesn't care who they insure, but it could be a new entity and they'll do it. But your rate's going to be high, you see? And most people don't understand the game. They'll say, okay, well, I'm going to go give me an MC and a DOT number and I'm going to go give me an LLC. But even when you start it out for the first 3 months or whatever the case may be, most people don't understand that even if you got a DOT and MC number, if you pay the insurance and stuff and do everything today, it doesn't matter if everything is active and you paid everything. If you call one of these brokers or even go on this load board to try to get any work, they ain't gonna give it to you. The reason why they ain't gonna give it to you, because your company's not anywhere from 90. Your company has to be 90 days to 6 months for you to actually get work.
Oh, so you can't even really give. That's what a lot of people crash too.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what kind of driver you are, especially the new CDL. If you just got your CDL.
Exactly. In most companies, you run into roadblocks where most companies get new drivers. Some companies don't like certain drivers if they have to have some experience. If you only had your license for a year, Progressive will insure the driver, but your premium be high. But then you got to really look at the whole situation and say, well, is this worth me running this truck and the insurance, the premium is high with this driver? It don't make sense.
Don't make financial sense.
It just don't make financial sense at all. And then it's like, you got to look at overall everything when it comes down to your business, because even when somebody starts a new entity, a lot of people get upset because they're like, well, I'm not making no money. But the reason why you're not making no money is because you jumping in fast and not paying attention to what's going on. And I tell everybody this: I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much money you got to back this truck or whatever. But if you don't have somebody like me that know the game, this business will make you or break you.
I know that you say game a lot. We got a podcast on that on the YouTube.
Okay.
We don't call it game. You don't have no game. You're very educated.
Right. Pretty much.
If you're not educated,
right.
No, pretty much you are, because you're educating people right now, and nobody can actually tell you your value or your worth because you actually went through it.
Right.
So you can say game. I was just saying that because I see you say a lot of game, but it's one of our podcasts. Well, not a podcast. I just sat in here and talked about game versus education, because right now what you're doing is actually giving an education on how the woes and the foes of the business is actually. You actually doing it, and like I say, it's not many of you, which we get to, that own a trucking business, and you're a minority business owner, and you're not a driver.
Right.
So how do you get to that plateau? So don't give them the game, educate them.
All right. So it's been a minute for me. I've been in the trucking business for almost 20 years. Right. Majority of my time was driving trucks. And it's like you go through it all. You know, I done been in situations where going to do a job, had a truck full of furniture on the truck, go to deliver it, but don't have the money for fuel. I've been stuck on the side of the road.
See, that's education.
You know, been stuck on the side of the road. Didn't know at that point. I just saw dollar signs. You know, I didn't do my research at that time to know that I needed a gas card. Everything I did, I paid out of pocket. You know, so you go through ups and downs and kind of really learning it. And once you actually really learn it, then you see what's really going on. I have a good friend that pulled me to the game of the trucking aspect of the moving. His name is Pablo. He's an Israeli guy in Brooklyn. He pulled me to the side and started showing me how to really run the trucks. And when I started really actually looking at everything from a business point, I started to understand. And the other thing about it is that when you actually doing this, do not bring family, do not bring friends into the industry, into your business, period, because people don't understand certain things and they don't understand business.
Right.
And you can't do business with anybody.
Right. You might not understand business. Who started the business?
Right. So it's so many different levels to this industry that you will have to pay attention to, and these drivers can make you or break you. And you should never be in a situation where you let your driver dictate you to tell you what he gonna do, what he ain't gonna do.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is that what I started seeing is that you have some of these drivers come in, they'll tell you, oh, I don't run to New York, I don't run to Jersey, or I don't run to Baltimore. I'll run this way. And the first thing I say, you got your own truck? If you got your own truck, you can dictate and tell me what you want to do, because now you're an owner operator.
Right.
You're not my employee, right? You're not a company driver. You're an owner operator.
Right.
So owner operators can dictate and tell you what they want to do because that's their truck. But you cannot have drivers in your truck to tell you what they do, what they want to do, what they want to do, and what they don't want to do. And you will have a lot of people tell you that. Because I had some drivers this morning that I was talking to this morning, and for the life of me, I'm just on the phone, like, just listening to they BS.
To their complaints.
Yeah. No, they was just basic. They didn't even have no complaints, but they lie. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of them saying, hey, you know what? This past weekend was my birthday. We partied. We got wasted. You know? Oh, nah, wasn't no communication. No. The dispatcher reached out to you. I'm looking at every email that she sent me when she contacted you. And then you will have a whole different bunch of things, stories, you know, baby ain't got no Pampers, that type of story, this, that, and the third. And even if you got the courtesy to help your driver out, to go the extra mile to help them, some of them take advantage of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every time you turn around, there's an excuse and an excuse and an excuse.
That's every business.
Right. But you get to a point where you get tired.
Right.
You know, and you just look at every aspect and just say, okay, do I want to deal with this driver or do I got a backup driver to put in this truck if I got to let this person go? So you got to be able to make sure you don't cripple yourself. And you got to always have backup drivers as well,
so
even if it's part-time.
You got to really vet them out before you stick them in your truck, because that's a big liability within itself.
Yeah.
Putting someone in your truck, because if they flip over a truck, cause a fatality or something like that, which I have had people that I've known cause fatalities, it falls back on the company, not on that driver. Of course, that driver will get cited if they find any type of infractions, whether they didn't log in right or whether they were on drugs or drinking. I know, of course, we know criminal. That's some criminal, but far as just not paying attention to the logbook, they can cost you your business, right?
Yes, it can. And they gotta make sure that these guys is doing what they supposed to, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. The trucking industry, when it comes to some drivers, it's like you babysitting a bunch of kids.
Even though they're grown men.
Even grown men. And it's crazy to me because when I look at it, I have a few older drivers, right, that's in their 60s, and they run circles around these guys, these younger guys. And for the life of me, I be sitting there and be like, I don't understand it. But when I look at it, it's like, I told a driver the other day, I had a driver, it took him 4 hours to do 53 miles. He had every excuse in the world why it took him to get 53 miles, but he blamed it on the dispatcher. But I'm sitting there watching I'm watching the GPS tracker, and I'm watching the ELD, and I'm laughing. And my first...
What's the ELD?
The ELD is your logbook.
Okay.
But you can see your truck, see the speed, the gas, everything, what they're doing. And I sit there and I'm looking and I'm just laughing to myself. And he says, "Sir, why are you laughing?" I said, "Because I see through all your bullshit that you telling me."
So you tell them straight up?
Straight up. I see me, I'm the type of person, everybody thinks that I'm too aggressive sometimes, and majority of them think I'll be an asshole when it comes to the drivers.
I don't know a billionaire or a multimillionaire that's not been called an asshole. I've been called an asshole a lot because I feel like God blesses with the discernment to see through your bullshit.
Right.
And of course, for you to manipulate me, you gotta tell me this bullshit.
Right.
Go ahead.
Cause see, he said to me, he said, "I'm on time, I'm be on time." I said, "No, you're not." I said, a truck, let's just take for example, your expectations for a tractor to be at least about $8,500 to $9,000 a week, right? And I tell him, I said, "You work 3 days, the truck did $1,900. What am I gonna do with that? And your salary is $1,400. So you tell me, am I in this industry to pay for insurance, truck note, gas in the driver, and the company makes no profit? Explain to me, what am I supposed to do with that? When you only made $1,900, the truck only made $1,900. There's no way I could do anything with that if you only made $1,900. When I'm
$1,400, go to them.
Yeah, so I'm not paying him $1,400 because you know why? Because he made $1,900. So the thing about it is, I paid him for 3 days. He called me and told me, he said he feel like he got robbed. I said, well, you need to go look in the mirror. You robbed your own self. Because if you actually did your job, you would have made your money. If you claim and screaming that you got a newborn baby at home and another baby on the way, then you need to be out here grinding. And that's the thing about some of these drivers. They got more excuses than a little bit.
And do you bump into this issue like most minority black men do? Well, ain't gonna say most. Let me just call it what it is. All the minority black business owners do. You had an issue where they come work for you, and all of a sudden they call in your pockets talking about they want to do this too and try to steal your business.
Okay.
You have those issues.
I had that issue. I'm gonna tell you.
And how you deal with it.
I'm gonna tell you a little incident, right? And I'm gonna put it like this: I watch us as a people hurt ourselves, right? I actually sat one day, was sitting in the office, and I was sitting in a conference room, and one of my managers was sitting there talking to a driver, right? And I had another young lady, she was from England, right? And I watched this driver tell this 26-year-old young lady, yes ma'am, about 10 times. And then turn around after she got talking to him, and when he was talking to the manager, he started talking to the manager with, yo bro, and cussing and doing a whole lot of other things.
Different ethnicity.
Right. So I sat there and I looked at him and I said, wow, that was very disrespectful. And he said, well, you can't tell me what to say to anybody. She's the boss. And I said, nah, she actually not. He's actually the boss. And I'm his boss.
Oh.
So for me, I let the guy go because for the thing about it is that what I'm starting to see us as a people, we look at a different race and we look at them like we put them on a pedestal. And it's sad because most minority companies want to be successful, but you can't be successful when you have a bunch of ignorance going on in the business.
I ain't gonna even say ignorant. Ignorance is not knowing. They know what the hell they doing. I'm just gonna say disrespect.
That too.
Each other.
That too.
You'll disrespect one another. Well, like I always tell people like this here. I see a lot of brothers, they're so quick when they speaking to, just say a white man or anybody outside of their race. They so quick to fasten their eyes to the street, not even able to look at person in the eyes when they speaking about business or anything.
They can't.
But me and you, they want to stare us down like in a meme, like
they argue with us.
Up.
Yeah.
I'll fuck you up if you we talking business. Like, how we get to that point?
Check this out. I had a driver one time. Payroll was getting processed. It was a day late. The driver said he wasn't moving until he got his paycheck, right? But if he was driving for another race,
let's
just say Roadrunner. If he was driving for Roadrunner,
right,
he ain't saying nothing to Roadrunner.
Right.
He's gonna drive, and if Roadrunner say, "Hey, your check is being deposited late," he's gonna accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
But me and you. Oh, I don't play that.
Or when they adjust the pay scale.
Yeah, so you get the cussing and you get the yelling. Oh, I come to the office and whoop your ass and this, that, and the third. And you sit back and you say to yourself, am I running a business or I'm running...
we on some street shit.
Or we on some street shit.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, man, it's like a lot of people don't understand the difference between business, man. It's like, I look at contracts, right? I apply for a lot of contracts and I get them, right? The thing about it is, anything in this industry is not guaranteed. It might be guaranteed for a short period of time. I've been in incidents where I try to help other individuals to have a passive income, but the thing about it is they don't know the ups and downs in the business or to invest in the business.
So you're an educator.
Right. So the thing about it is when somebody comes and wants to invest some money to you or investing in the business or whatever, they don't understand that that money might be guaranteed and it might not be guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed because things happen. Some things is out of your control, which you can't control. If Amazon comes back and say, hey, we cutting this contract and we know that, hey, we was making $200,000 a week, now it done got cut back to $50,000, $60,000 a week. That investment that you put up, you made some money. you might have made your profit, you might have made your investment back, but you might not made the profit. And some people don't get their investment back.
Right.
But when you got people that's uneducated, the first thing they want to do is take it a different way. They want to fight you. They want to threaten you. They want to take things a different way.
They don't want to threaten a certain race of people.
Right.
Because I see they don't do it to everybody. They'll come to you and talk shit to you.
Right.
Like, I fuck you up, I do X, Y, Z.
Right.
And then that's when you have to show them, well, let me switch the faces. I forgot to tell you, this is who I really am, motherfucker.
Right.
I'm going to entertain all that. I ain't going to start nothing.
Right.
But I forgot to tell you, I entertain everything. I'm diffusing nothing.
Right. So when you look at it, the whole thing about it is, man, I'm going to be honest with you. For me right now, when me doing this trucking business, I'm being more careful about the people that I deal with and interact with the business, because a lot of people are not educated with it. I done been in incidents where I try to help people, put them in the game to show them what's what, how to do it, and it's like some people comprehend and some don't comprehend. The first thing that they do, and they say, well, you know, I got bills and I got responsibilities. We all got bills and responsibilities.
Right.
I take a risk just like anybody else take a risk.
They want you to understand their issue.
Right. My issue or whatever I have going on in my household is not important to anybody else, but it's important to me. So I'm going to make sure that I clarify and make it happen on my end. But the thing about it is what I'm saying is this. If anybody try to invest with someone, make sure that you have everything in black and white where they can understand it. Have a lawyer look over, read it with them or whatever, because most people don't understand that your investment sometimes is not always guaranteed.
Right. What I do is when I do contracts for my employees or contractors, I give them the contract and I tell them, please read it to your entirety. I don't give a shit whether you get an attorney or not, but you have that option because you got that document.
Right.
Because one thing about the state of Georgia, you have that fiduciary duty to read. And you need to have an understanding so we won't have no confusion about this contract. And a lot of people blame things on contract, which I'm going to go to this sideways, but I know you have an understanding of this. Like I said, a lot of my partners, they would get trucks. Let's say, I knew a lot of partners that back in the day, the late 90s, well, I've been out of high school since 1987. So, right? So I would say the 90s, mid-90s.
Okay.
A lot of them was getting in the trucking business as well. And they was working for this one big company named SAI, S-A-I, SAI. You familiar with it?
No.
SAI is, I want to say they right out of, they in Louisiana. They're out of Louisiana close to Houston.
Okay.
It's a big company. But anyway, a lot of them was buying their trucks and then putting it on with SAI. SAI was paying them good money. Well, they were making a couple of $100,000 a year, this and this, and then they started decreasing their percentage, I guess. And a couple of my partners came to me and I shared with them because I understand business. So I educated them after they came and spoke their mind with me. I said, well, you know, this is what I don't get. You buy your truck, whether you buy it outright or whether you get it financed, it's your truck.
Right.
You go and get your MC or your DOT or your insurance. Then you lease it on with a company like SAI or ALM or all the other big companies out there. But then you only get a percentage of the load and you have no dictatorship of the percentage. So I say, well, you're really not even an owner-operator. You own your own truck, but they actually control the truck. But then when you go to, again, they come to Dream Team, they want to say, I got my own truck, how much the load paying, and I want 80%, I'm going to pay you 20%. Have you had that issue? How do you feel about the owner-operators who get a truck, finance it, or paid it off right, and you sign on to another company? Because if you sign on to another company, in my opinion, not my opinion, I don't know, this your game. No, this your business, not a game. You're not your own business. Now, I see if you got the contract or whatever, but if they getting 100%, because one of the other things and I relax. One of the other things is Amazon, FedEx, UPS, Postal Service, all the other companies. When me and you go on Amazon right now, we have to pay right now, right? So You get paid for that load right then and now. If you're your own business owner and you're driving for a freight company like Side, I'm just using Amazon as an example. But that freight is getting paid. Why are you only getting 15 or 20% of that load when you carry the load? It's your truck, and how can you say you're actually business owner?
Well, owner operators, right? Let me correct that part of it. Most owner operators, I have owner operators signed up to the company, right? We take 20%. They get 80%, right?
You do.
Right. We get 20%.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The big companies don't. They give them 20 and take 80.
So we take 20%. But here's the thing. Most owner operators, when they got their own trucks, they driving their own trucks, right? If they lease onto the company, we take 20% of their loads. They're responsible for insurance, and they're responsible for freight. I mean, not for the freight, insurance and a fuel card. That's what they're responsible for, right? I have owner operators, just like I was telling you, I have older guys that drive, that's 60-something, almost 70 years old, run circles around these guys. I looked at one owner operator, he did about $12,000 last week, right? After his 20% fuel insurance came out and his truck payment, he went home with $7,500, right? So most of these guys can make good money if they sign on to other companies to be an owner operator, and most of these big companies take a more percentage from them, but they don't sit there and they don't ask enough questions to really know what the understanding is.
Or they don't negotiate the contract.
But see, the thing about it is, if you own a company and if I tell you 20%, if I'm giving you the loads and I'm making sure you load it every week, the thing about it is for us is we taking 20% is because we hold liability of everything else. Because if you go out here and do something, it falls on us. It ain't gonna fall on you because you can take your truck and leave.
And do you pay their insurance?
Okay, so we take the payment out for their insurance.
Okay, to make sure they have insurance.
Right,
okay.
To make sure. So we take 20% plus their insurance.
Okay.
You got some people who try to negotiate 15 or 10%, but the thing about it is that it's a lot of work. It's just, we got to make sure.
You got to make some money.
Yeah, we got to make sure that they got all their stuff. We got to make sure they got ether stickers, everything on these trucks, paperwork, making sure that they doing all their logs. We got to keep everything on files. So like I said, if you ever get a safety audit, you got to make sure you have, if they come back and say, I need to see all the records on John, I got to produce that. And most people don't have a compliance department. Most people try to do it themselves. Like when I started out, I tried to do everything myself, but I didn't know nothing. I was green to the game.
You wasn't educated.
Right.
You wasn't educated in this particular field.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't no game.
Yeah, so I wasn't
notorious
right
in Nintendo.
Yeah, so I wasn't educated in this field in the trucking industry. So I had to really learn some things. I had a hiccup, and and it caused me a setback. So and that taught me a lot. So I started putting my mind focused on to do things the way it needs to be done. I'm gonna tell you, people gotta understand it's no shortcuts. You try to take a shortcut, you wind up getting cut short.
I tell them that all the time.
It's a fact. It's not about somebody trying to tell you something. It's really a fact. I done did it. I done try to take shortcuts. I done try to do things. I done try to finagle the situation.
Yeah.
It don't work.
He said it don't never work.
It don't work.
Right.
And then the thing about it is that I tell you, time and time again, people have to be very educated about being in the industry or running a business. I was told one time, just because you have an LLC doesn't mean that you have a business. You can call it's considered to be a company, but you got to know the business. Because anybody can go get an LLC. And
anybody.
So
they gotta know. We have a podcast on that about knowing your filings.
Yeah.
Right? And having an understanding whether you want to be an Inc. or an LLC.
Right.
Which is a lot of the banking industry. They rather deal with an Inc. When you're doing a commercial lease, they rather deal with an Inc. than an LLC.
Right. And a lot of people don't.
Which is a pass-through.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that. And the other thing about it is too, I might be very knowledgeable of some things that might be strong in one department, right? And I can give out the orders and kind of structure it, but that don't mean I can run the business daily, the day-to-day business.
Right.
And see, the thing about it is I'm more behind the scenes. So when they have an issue or anything, everybody comes to me and asks me because I know how to thrive through the drama side of it. I can see straight through. I know how to function. So I can tell you under pressure, I can tell you what to do and what not to do. But you got some people that don't know how to function when it comes to certain things with the business. Well, I got an issue with this driver. What should I do? Well, let me hear the issue. If I hear the issue, then we can...
Introducing to you Pinpoint Foundation's Real Estate Lounge, a unique experience in all things real estate and other business ventures. Pinpoint is an expansive company that is driven to put our customers' best interests first in all aspects. From commercial and residential real estate representation, where we do closings here at the office, to our 501c3, mentoring and nonprofit events, filming productions, and courier services, come let Pinpoint point you in the right direction and experience business better than you have before. We're not a regular real estate company, we're a cool real estate company. Visit us on our websites, pinpointbrokers.net and pinpointfoundation.org, and check us out on our social media platforms. Pinpoint Foundation is always accepting donations through Zelle to Pinpoint Foundation or through mail-in checks. See you soon.
Issue, then we can solve the problem. Because it's really sometimes it's just it's a one-on-one thing that you can really have a conversation with a person to really actually find out what is really going on with this person.
Communication and listening. Like I was sharing with my guys today, it's in scripture for a reason. Slow to speak, swift to listen. Because if two people talking at the same time, there's no understanding and there's no proper communication.
Right.
And a lot of issues in every business only can get ironed out if somebody listening while the other person's speaking. With two people speaking, can't really have understanding because you got to be able to listen to see if this person straight up bullshit is.
Yeah.
Correct? You deal with a lot of that, right?
Yep.
You know, in this business, let me just say, the vast majority of my Pinpoint Podcast, we always about real estate and business. And because there's not nobody out there just talking to small business owners, talking to business owners that might not even be small, because they're not noticeable to the public eye. But
right.
They making very good money, like yourself. Like you can have how many trucks?
We got 32 trucks.
So 32 trucks being a young black man like yourself out of Brooklyn, probably, I don't know, so if you ain't been in the streets, you dealt with the streets.
Have.
How you have come up and accomplish such a thing that you have and then able to run your business the way you do. How did you transform from that side to this side?
God.
I love that answer.
It was God.
A one-liner.
Nope. It was God. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's some days that a lot of people see things and you get tempted by different things or whatever the case may be. I had God have to teach me a lesson and put me in a situation where I had to really respect what he was trying to show me. You know, so I said either that I'm gonna either change my whole aspect of life or I'm just gonna deal with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just rattle the fence like back and forth. You either gonna be straight. Nope, you either gonna be straight or you ain't. And that's just bottom line to it. And it's a lot of days still that I have to actually have to pray because the devil stay busy at all times, and you got to look at the whole aspect of what it is of what you trying to get to. For me now, running a business, I'm not trying to do it for nobody else. I'm trying to do it to where the kids have something generational.
Generational wealth.
Yes, where they're straight and the grandkids are straight. Right. Most people look at it now, they glorify everything else. They want to be like everybody else. They want to show everybody that they got money or whatever the case may be. You ain't got to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Because I was sitting with a guy the other day having dinner with him. I couldn't even tell you if he was rich But the first thing about us, we more materialized. We look at things and look at materialistic things. The first thing, look at somebody, what they got on their feet, what they wearing, what they watch, or whatever it's about, what you wearing. And I'm sitting there having a conversation with this gentleman and having a whole conversation about business, and he's breaking some things down to me. He's showing me some things, and he's showing me things with the real estate farm. He had a farm and a couple other things going on. And
that you was unaware of.
Right.
Didn't even look like it.
No. He didn't, I want to get to the point where, when do you get to the point where you don't care about what you got on? Difference between going to a banquet or something, if you going to, get an award or something, and you got your tux on, different. But this gentleman was sitting there with a regular t-shirt and some rundown sneakers and stuff on. But when I walked outside, and I'm thinking, well, he's going to be driving a Porsche or BMW or something. Man, this man was driving a Ford Focus. But when I look at it, just have a conversation with him, just sitting there, he's just telling me things, educating me on some things. And he just was like, yo, you can take your money and put your money here and do this and do that, And he said to me, if you go spend $30,000, $40,000 on a watch, why don't you take that $30,000, $40,000 and go buy some land? You know what I'm saying? And have the land work for yourself. And then the people ain't paying attention about gentrification and stuff like that. You own some stuff, because right now, man, they putting up buildings and houses everywhere.
We had a podcast,
and that's it.
Gentrification.
Yeah, so
talk about that.
Yeah, so the thing about it is, man, I just sit back and I just like, okay, I need to be able to put myself in a different situation,
in a better financial situation for the future and for your kids.
Right.
And that's what a lot of us that come from impoverished area, assuming, I don't know where you come from, but I did.
Right.
Come from an impoverished area, raised by one parent. I don't know about you, but I was. And the one thing about it, we wasn't taught nothing about credit, taught nothing about business. Only thing we was taught was about survival, which brings us to this. Mm-hmm. You've been surviving in the business, so it seems that you did what most of us done, is take whatever street knowledge you have, street hustle you had, and apply that same street hustle to your business, because everything, like you said earlier, is a hustle. I call them one-dimensional hustlers. If you can only sell drugs, go get a bid, come back out, and you never come back up.
Right.
Because the only thing you know is this. Now you're no longer a hustler. You're considered a fool because you keep doing the same thing.
Right.
They keep you getting back. Incarcerated. Like I spoke to a group at South DeKalb High School today earlier, and I was sharing that with them. Now you've been successful with 32 trucks, your own business. Not the biggest thing out of this, not just you just having your own trucking industry, but you're not a driver. You're no longer on the road. So that hustle that you took from the streets and you applied it here, what made you think and say, wait a minute, if I get up in the morning and get out there every morning, you know how every hustler did, what made you say, if I apply toward this industry with my bruises, I know I'm going to be successful? Because it seemed like you're a man that was confident and know where he's going, and you knew success was going to travel with you. Or did you know that?
I did know. I had to think about this, man. And it's funny that you said, you keep repeating the same things and you keep getting knocked down. When I started, man, it was just like, I look at that, I was in the industry, and when I say you can't take shortcuts, you get cut down, I was taking shortcuts. It's like I would be good for 6 months. Money's good. Then I'm down. When the season changes, January comes in, February comes in, the business starts to slow down. So when it got to that point when the winter comes in and everything started slowing down, now I'm in a situation where I'm seeing that I'm robbing from Peter to pay Paul. So I had to start looking at, what was I doing wrong? What was I doing? Not everybody else, because I have people sit there and say, it's everybody else's fault but yours. But I had to come back and sit in reality and say, okay, what am I doing wrong? Then I had to really sit back and turn around and take that energy and take it and put it into a positive situation for me to get straight and stop the shortcuts. Because if you continue with the shortcuts, you will never get nowhere. Everything will just stay right there. If you remember if a person is in the street hustling, if you continue to do the same thing of hustling, yeah, you might have a little bit of money, but you're still gonna stay here. Okay? And then all the other drama comes.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying? So it's puts you in that situation where you are in that. And I try to stay away from that, and I try to stay straight. You know, I put myself in, sometimes you can make bad decisions that you might think it's a good decision, but it might be a bad decision. Somebody else might see it. That's just like, say, for example, if you was my partner, right? And I might be real anxious to do this deal with this person, but you might not be. You might see something that I don't see. And you might say, well, Ty, listen, let it go. And I'm going to say to you, why? Let it go. You might tell me, this is not what we're looking for. It might not be a good fit. This is not a good idea.
And it could harm us in the future.
Right. Because I have a situation where saw a guy that I knew for 30-something years, try to put him in a situation to make a passive income, but he got to a point where he was making money off of everybody else. Instead of being honest with them and still say, hey, well, this is what the trucks cost and this is what we can do, X, Y, Z. He didn't look at none of that. He looked at lining his pockets. And you got to be careful with people like that because they got alternative motives. Yeah. And it could put you in a situation and then people come to you and say, well, you know what? I gave him $60,000 to invest in this. But I didn't get $60,000.
And you're not a part of this.
I said, no, I didn't get that. You understand what I'm saying? I provide loads for those trucks or whatever that was supposed to be, right? But you have people that sit there and don't understand, again, business. And they don't contracts. Ty's not doing no business with you if I ain't got no contract. Because of the thing about it is I'm going to make sure I keep a paper trail.
Right, that's one thing I do.
Keep a paper trail.
I hate doing business without a contract.
No,
and
you
then
can't.
it keeps down the confusion when somebody come in line and say, well, you say you're going to pay me XYZ. Okay, you know what? I might be wrong, but let's pull out that contract.
Yeah.
And that contract gonna stay.
Yeah.
Because hey, I might forget because I might be enjoying myself. Like we having a good taste right now, and you might say something, and I might honestly forget. But one thing we don't forget, I was sober when we did that contract.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because black and white never tell a lie. Numbers in black and white don't lie. So the thing about it is that you have to make sure that you keep everything in black and white and make sure that you pay attention to what's going on. Because most people, like I said again, they don't understand business. Because if you got the people that's calling you on the phone saying, hey, I got to feed my family and I got X, Y, Z, well, no disrespect. This is business.
Right.
If this didn't go right, then this is what it is. See, the differences between this is another thing that I was explained one day. The rabbi said to me, his name is Dobby. Dobby said to me, he said, yo, Todd, do you know the difference between an investment and a loan? Loan, you pay back. An investment, anything can happen. You might lose it, you might make a profit, get your money back and make a profit. But that's just an investment. And a loan, you get your money back because you borrowed the money and you paying it back with interest.
Hopefully you get it back.
Hopefully you get it back.
Because they can file a bankruptcy.
Right, exactly.
Everything is a gamble.
Yep,
basically.
it is. So you have people with this industry, period, they just, I don't get it. Like, I just try to stay away from things and try to deal with people that are educated in this industry and that might understand what's going on or just know business, period. But everybody that say they know business really don't know business.
Right.
They know street business.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Oh, my bad. What they call it on the street, nigga business.
Nigga business.
So you know what I'm saying? So they look at it a different aspect.
Right.
And you got to stay away from. You have to stay away from that.
A lot of, excuse the French. No, I don't. I just say that shit for fun. A lot of motherfuckers do nigga business.
They do.
When they do that nigga business, when they come to you, you have to have an understanding to distinguish. Now, the word I use, nigga business, some people might be offended, but oh well, they can tune out. Nigga business, basically, nigga is ignorant.
Yes.
Now, we understand that they used to call our ancestors that, the slave that, but we talking about now, future time. Typically, when I see what I call nigga business, is ignorant people. Ignorance equates to not knowing. So if you not knowing, and to keep your faith from being shamed and have too much pride, you do nigga business, and then you try to fast talk and put that oil your tongue down to slick somebody out or something.
Right.
So I do have a full understanding of what you call nigga business.
Right.
But, you know, we have a great conversation about the trucking industry because everybody, a lot of people that's coming home, a lot of people that came home, a lot of people that have been incarcerated, one of the not all, but one of the most sought out industries is the trucking industry. So if somebody out there wanted to get in touch with you, not to get game, but to be educated and maybe join the Dream Team Transportation as an employee, because you do hire felons. Yes or no? I don't know.
Yes.
So you felon-friendly company. Great. So how can they get in touch with you, and would you educate them if they say, I don't want to drive for you? Can you educate me and walk me through it as far as getting my MC, getting my DOT, helping me get my authority through the insurance? How can they get in touch with you where you can educate them or employ them?
They can DM me on my Instagram. They can send an email. I can give you all the information for them to get in contact to do that as well. Okay, so basically, my Instagram is 599_Brooklyn_Ty. Again, it's 599_Brooklyn_Ty. The email address is called rollingwiththedream@gmail.com. So you can email us. You can DM me. I can respond.
You spell out the email address?
It's called rollingwiththedream@gmail.com.
And the website.
The website was thedreamteamtransportation.com.
Right.
Yep.
So they can reach you by those avenues.
Yes.
And if they wanted to be educated, what if somebody said, hey, I want to do my own thing and I have my money? Could you educate them and
Yes.
show them if they got in touch with you? Because a lot of people out there with all ethnicities.
My thing is what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to educate everybody to this game, because like
to
over
the
industry.
To the industry.
Because since COVID hit, I looked at about
1 second. I'm glad you brought that up. Keep that thought.
Okay.
I only want to. Did COVID affect your business? And then you go.
No.
Okay.
COVID was like a gift and a curse. You know, it was a good year. But what I started seeing is that a lot of people trying to get in the industry, but they don't have the education for the industry. I would like to be able to teach people, to show them the difference, you know, how to actually run a business and actually to really know, to have the understanding of the education for it. Because they don't. Because most people, like I said, they get in, they get an LLC or whatever, the DOT number, and they don't understand what's going on. And they think it's just about the money, but it's more about it. You know, it's more to the industry than just about the money. The one thing about it is you set it up properly and you do what you're supposed to do the right way, then the money's going to come.
Right.
Everything it'll come. You just got to take your time with it. But most people want it to happen overnight. Most businesses.
Welcome to the new townhome residence coming soon, Pointe Park. These modern luxury units will be located on Butner Road in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, just minutes away from the downtown area and the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. The 7 units will include an open floor plan, rooftop patio, 3 bedrooms with 2 masters, and so many more luxurious details. For more information on Pinpoint Foundation's latest development, please visit pinpointfoundation.org. And for interest in pre-sales, please visit our website, pinpointbrokers.net. We hope your new home awaits you.
Most companies don't be successful until like the second year, and that's when you'll start seeing a difference in the business, but you got some people that don't have the patience to actually really see the company grow. And you can't, just because you own the business don't mean you can just go to that bank account and take the money out. You got to make sure that you have an accountant and he can pay you every week, and that way you got an income coming in as well.
Right.
And, because you don't want to get into a situation where they hit you with embezzlement because you're taking money out the company.
Right.
And people don't understand that. They feel because their name is on it, they figure they can go do what they want to do. But nah, you really can't do that.
Right.
And you just got to pay attention to the rules and the regulations.
Right. So, hey, we want to thank Mr. Ty for coming out and giving the audience. I hope the audience. I know I got a lot of audience out there that was very interested in the trucking business. I always call them in as well.
Okay.
But we appreciate you coming out, because one thing about it, we always try to get brothers coming out here, and sisters, people period, coming out here who had a turn in their life to where now they're a successful business owner. And you've been a successful business owner. Success is in the eyes of the beholder. And I behold you being successful. Don't care about what's in your pocket.
Right.
Just by you being able to go through the adversities you've gone through in life, being able to be a business owner and not have to actually drive. Because most business owners who's in the trucking business, they have to actually drive.
Yes.
You understand? Not saying that they're not a business owner, but they are an employee as well. Because if you're working all the time, you're not just an employer, you're an employee of your own business. And it seems like you have mastered that. God bless you.
Yes.
In the one word you use,
yes.
God. You know what I mean? So we want to thank you for coming out. We'd like to thank everybody every week for tuning in to Pinpoint Podcast and everything. And if you missed it, you can catch us on YouTube on our Pinpoint Foundation page in another week, or you can catch us on Apple Podcast as well as SoundCloud. And again, this is Mr. Ty, Mr. Pickett, and I want him to, if you don't mind, to give them your social medias one more time, just in case somebody missed it, so they can get it, so they can make sure they can get in touch with you, because there are a lot of interesting people who would love to be in the trucking industry that I personally know, and I know that you know.
Right.
This is the platform at Pinpoint Podcast, because everything is business, everything real estate about our podcast, to making sure we can get out there and not just show the people who they call quote unquote is in the public eye, I don't want to say nothing negative, but not just celebrities and everybody else, but there's a lot of people out here making moves that people don't shine a light on because they don't feel like a light can be shined on them.
That's true.
Get it?
Yeah.
So we shine a light on everybody. Well, we give the light to everybody who already has the light that they share with us for coming on our podcast. There you go. You want to give them that one more time?
All right. Is my Instagram is 599_Brooklyn_Ty. The email address is rollingwiththedream@gmail.com. Website is thedreamteamtransportation.com. You can email us or you can DM me. If you need information on the trucking industry, I can help you. I can help you set up the business, however you need it to be done. I'm going to be consulting the people as well, so you can, give us a call.
Again, thank y'all for joining Pinpoint Podcast. And thank you, Mr. Ty, for coming out. Now we get ready at Pinpoint Podcast. Hump Day Wednesday. We for the feast.
All right.
That's what we get ready to do. This Hump Day Burger Day. Peace. We out.